Okay, so get this. Keeping humans alive in space is no easy feat.
Right. Absolutely not.
But it's essential for all that incredible research happening on the International Space Station.
Absolutely.
And that's where today's deep dive takes us.
Yeah.
A recent launch that's all about keeping those astronauts up there supplied with everything they need. Think of it like a cosmic delivery truck.
Oh, wow.
Packed with everything.
That's a great way to put it.
From groceries to spare parts.
Yeah.
And we're going to unpack all the details from this NASA article.
Okay.
It's called Soyuz Rocket Ignites. Progress 90 soars to space station with 3 tons of vital supplies.
Catchy title.
And to help us really understand the significance of this mission, we've got an expert with us.
Happy to be here.
Who can shed light on all the fascinating ins and outs.
I do my best.
So these resupply missions,
Yeah.
they're the lifeline of the ISS, wouldn't you say?
They absolutely are. It's not just about, like, keeping the astronauts fed and comfortable, although...
Yeah, but that's
part of it.
But it's so much more than that.
Right.
It's about making sure that they have all of the resources to conduct groundbreaking research that benefits all of us back here on Earth.
Speaking of those supplies,
yes,
the article highlights the sheer volume being set up, 3 tons.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of stuff.
3 tons might seem like overkill at first.
Right.
But when you consider that the ISS is essentially a self-contained city in space, it makes a little more sense.
Okay.
Everything has to be shipped up there.
Yeah.
Food, water, fuel for the station.
We got to stay warm, right.
And even the air that they breathe.
Wow. That puts things in perspective.
It does.
The article mentions that this latest mission launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan on November 21st.
Historic place. And, I'm always struck by those launch images.
Oh, yeah.
The sheer power of the Soyuz rocket blasting off.
It's incredible.
It's just mesmerizing.
Oh, absolutely. And the Baikonur Cosmodrome itself adds another layer of historical significance to these launches. Did you know that it's the world's first and largest operational space launch facility?
Wow.
It's been the site of countless historic missions, including, Yuri Gagarin's first human spaceflight back in 1961.
Yeah, talk about a place steeped in space exploration history.
Absolutely.
Okay, so after that incredible launch, the Progress 90 spacecraft embarks on this, 2-day journey to the ISS.
Yeah.
It's not like driving down the highway, right?
Yeah, not at all, no.
Can you walk us through what's involved in that?
Yeah, so we're talking about incredibly precise orbital mechanics here.
Oh.
Imagine trying to merge onto a highway where everybody is going 17,000 miles an hour. That's the level of precision that we're talking about here. The spacecraft has to be carefully maneuvered to match the ISS's orbit and speed and everything to ensure a safe rendezvous.
Yeah, because if they hit each other, it's not going to be good.
No, not at all.
I'm always amazed by how they dock these spacecraft.
That's pretty incredible.
Is it all done autonomously? Or do humans have to, step in?
It's a fascinating blend of automation and human oversight.
Okay.
The Progress spacecraft is equipped with sophisticated guidance systems that allow it to approach the ISS autonomously.
Wow.
But mission control is constantly monitoring the process, ready to intervene if needed.
That's good.
It's a true testament to the ingenuity of the engineers who designed these systems.
Absolutely. The article mentions that this Progress spacecraft is actually based on the design of the Soyuz spacecraft.
Yeah.
Which is used to transport astronauts.
Yes. Are they like space cousins or something?
In a way, yeah.
Okay.
They share a common ancestry, which makes sense from an engineering standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Why reinvent the wheel when you have a proven design?
Exactly.
But the Soyuz is designed to carry people and can be reused.
Okay.
The Progress is purely a cargo vessel and is actually disposable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it burns up upon re-entry.
So each one is like a one-way ticket to space.
That's right.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
And I read that it's cleverly designed with separate compartments for dry goods, fuel, and all the spacecraft's essential systems.
That's right, yeah.
It's like a Swiss Army knife of space cargo.
Precisely. It's all about maximizing efficiency and ensuring that every inch of space is used effectively.
Okay, so we've got this incredible spacecraft
Yeah.
packed with vital supplies.
Yeah. Making its way to the ISS after a perfectly orchestrated launch.
It's quite a process.
This all seems incredibly complex and expensive.
It is.
What makes it all worthwhile?
That's a great question. And the answer lies in the crucial role that the ISS plays in advancing scientific knowledge. The research being conducted up there is mind-blowing.
Like what? Give us some examples.
We're talking about experiments in fields like medicine, biology, physics, and even Earth observation.
Interesting.
That simply can't be done anywhere else. These resupply missions are essential for keeping those experiments running and pushing the boundaries of human understanding.
That's where it gets really interesting. What kind of cutting-edge science are these astronauts doing up there?
Yeah.
And how do these deliveries make it possible?
Well, for instance, they're studying the effects of microgravity on the human body, which could lead to breakthroughs in treating osteoporosis and other conditions.
So they're helping us back here on Earth.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
They're also growing crystals and developing new materials in a way that's impossible on Earth. Potentially revolutionizing industries from electronics to medicine. And they're observing our planet from a unique vantage point, providing vital data on climate change, deforestation, and other environmental challenges.
It sounds like the ISS.
It really is.
Is kind of like a giant floating laboratory in space.
Yeah, it's a great analogy.
It's hard to believe it's been continuously occupied for over 2 decades.
It's an incredible feat of engineering and international collaboration.
Yeah, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
The fact that we've been able to maintain a continuous human presence in space for so long is a testament to our ingenuity and our desire to explore the unknown.
I completely agree.
Speaking of collaboration, the article highlighted that this particular resupply mission was conducted by Roscosmos, the Russian space agency. It reminds us that the ISS is a truly global endeavor.
It is.
Bringing together different nations for a common goal.
For sure.
Absolutely. And it's important to remember that even amidst, geopolitical tensions on Earth, space exploration continues to be a beacon of international cooperation.
It's a great example of that.
It is. It's a great reminder that we can achieve incredible things when we work together.
Yeah, I agree.
So we've covered the impressive journey of the Progress 90. The sheer volume of supplies it carries. And the vital role these missions play in supporting the groundbreaking research happening on the ISS.
It is.
But this is just the beginning of our deep dive.
I'm ready.
We're about to take things even further and explore some of the bigger questions surrounding the ISS, its future, and the evolving landscape of space exploration.
Sounds good.
Exactly. And as we delve deeper, I want you to consider this with private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin becoming increasingly involved in space travel. How might the future of resupply missions to the ISS change?
That's a great question.
Will we see a shift from government-led missions to a more commercialized approach?
It's certainly possible.
That's a fantastic question to ponder as we continue our deep dive.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned because we're about to uncover even more fascinating insights about the world of space station resupply and the future of space exploration itself.
Looking forward to it.
Me too.
Me too.
Let's take a quick break.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Sounds good. It's a fascinating question to consider, isn't it? The role of private companies in space exploration is growing so rapidly. And, it's bound to have an impact on how we sustain a human presence in space, including resupplying the ISS.
I mean, we already see companies like SpaceX launching cargo and astronauts to the ISS. So could we see a future where these resupply missions are primarily handled by commercial providers?
It's certainly a possibility. As commercial spaceflight becomes more routine and cost-effective, it could make sense for agencies like NASA and Roscosmos to outsource some of these logistical operations to companies like SpaceX.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it would free up those agencies to focus on more ambitious goals.
Right. Like, deep space exploration.
Yeah, deep space exploration.
Or building the next generation of space stations.
Exactly. So if we can streamline the process
of getting supplies to low Earth orbit, it opens up a whole new realm of possibilities.
Absolutely.
For what we can achieve further out in space.
For sure.
Okay, so as we consider this potential shift towards commercial resupply missions, it also makes you think about the long-term future of the ISS itself.
Right. The ISS isn't meant to last forever.
Right.
It's been in orbit for over 2 decades now.
Wow.
And it's approaching the end of its planned lifespan.
So what happens next? Do we just abandon this incredible platform for scientific discovery?
Well, that's a big question that's currently being debated by space agencies and policymakers around the world. There are a few different options on the table.
Like what?
Well, one possibility is to extend the life of the ISS, perhaps through upgrades and repairs. This would allow us to continue using it as a research platform for a few more years.
That seems like the most straightforward solution.
But I imagine it would be pretty expensive.
It would definitely be a costly endeavor.
Yeah.
And it's also important to consider the risks involved in operating an aging space station. As the ISS gets older, the chances of equipment failures or other incidents increase.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So what are some of the other options?
Well, another possibility is to deorbit the ISS in a controlled manner, letting it burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. This would bring an end to its operational life, but it would be a safe and responsible way to dispose of such a massive structure.
It seems almost sad to think about the ISS meeting that kind of end.
It is a bit bittersweet, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that even if the ISS is eventually deorbited, its legacy will continue to inspire us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The knowledge gained, the technologies developed, and the international collaborations forged.
For sure.
During its time in orbit, will continue to shape the future of space exploration.
Precisely. And speaking of the future, another option being explored is the development of new space stations.
Oh, really? So even if the ISS is retired, we might see new and improved space stations taking its place.
Exactly. Some countries, including China and Russia, are already developing their own space stations.
Interesting.
And there's also growing interest in the concept of commercially operated space stations.
Wow, commercial space stations.
Yeah.
That sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
It might seem futuristic, but it's becoming increasingly plausible. Companies like Axiom Space are already working on building modules that could attach to the ISS and eventually become independent space stations.
So we could see a future where space stations aren't just for government agencies anymore.
Potentially, yeah.
They could become accessible to private companies, researchers, and even tourists.
That's the vision.
Wow.
And it's a fascinating one to consider.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where going to space is no longer limited to a select few astronauts, but becomes an opportunity open to a wider range of people.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it also raise a lot of new challenges?
Oh, absolutely.
And considerations, like who gets access to these commercial space stations?
Exactly.
And how do we ensure that space remains a peaceful and collaborative environment?
Those are excellent questions.
Yeah.
And they highlight the importance of thinking carefully about the ethical and legal implications of commercial space activities as we move towards a future where space is more accessible. We need to ensure that it benefits all of humanity.
It's a lot to consider.
It is.
And it makes you realize that the future of space exploration is about much more than just building rockets and launching spacecraft.
It's about so much more than that.
It's about shaping a future for humanity in space that's sustainable, ethical, and inspiring.
That's beautifully put.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And as we continue to explore the cosmos, I think it's important to keep these bigger questions in mind.
Absolutely.
The decisions we make today will shape the course of human space exploration for generations to come.
I agree.
So we've journeyed from the launch of the Progress 90, which is just one piece of a much larger puzzle, to a discussion about the future of the ISS and the evolving landscape of space exploration.
It's amazing how these things are all connected.
It's remarkable how this single event can spark such thought-provoking conversations about our place in the universe and the possibilities that lie ahead.
It really is. And speaking of possibilities, we haven't even touched on the potential for establishing permanent bases on the moon or even Mars.
Right. That's another whole layer of this incredible story.
For sure.
And I'm eager to dive into those possibilities with you.
Let's do it.
But first, let's take a step back and recap what we've learned so far about the importance of resupply missions and the future of the ISS.
That's good.
All right, so we started this deep dive talking about a single mission.
Right.
The launch of the uncrewed Roscosmos Progress 90 spacecraft.
Yeah.
Packed with 3 tons of supplies, headed for the International Space Station.
It's a pretty impressive feat.
It is, and we quickly realized that this one mission is just a small part of a much bigger story.
Absolutely.
The story of how we sustain a human presence in space.
Right.
And the incredible research that's happening on the ISS.
It's mind-blowing, some of the stuff they're doing up there.
We learned about the complex orbital mechanics involved in getting that spacecraft safely to the ISS.
It's not easy.
And it's like a cosmic ballet of precision and timing.
That's a great way to put it.
We also explored the design of the Progress spacecraft.
Yeah.
How it's based on the Soyuz spacecraft, but adapted specifically for carrying cargo.
It's a workhorse.
It's like a workhorse of space transportation.
Yeah.
Reliably delivering everything from food and water to scientific equipment and spare parts.
It's amazing what they can fit in those things.
Speaking of that research, we touched on some of the groundbreaking experiments happening on the ISS.
They're doing some incredible work up there.
It's mind-boggling to think that scientists are studying the effects of microgravity on the human body.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Growing crystals, developing new materials.
Pushing the boundaries of science.
And observing our planet from a unique vantage point.
It's a perspective we could only dream of a few decades ago.
And all thanks to these resupply missions.
They make it all possible.
Then we took a step back and considered the future of the ISS itself. We know it's not going to last forever.
Unfortunately not.
So we talked about some of the options being considered, like extending its life.
It's had a good run.
Deorbiting it safely. Or even developing new space stations. Potentially commercially operated ones.
Yeah, that's a really interesting possibility.
The possibilities are truly fascinating.
They are.
Imagine a future where going to space is no longer limited to a select few astronauts. But becomes an opportunity open to a wider range of people.
It's an exciting prospect.
From scientists and engineers to entrepreneurs and tourists.
It's a democratization of space.
It's exciting and a bit daunting at the same time.
You know, every new frontier brings its own set of challenges.
Raises a lot of questions.
Yeah.
About who gets access to space, how we ensure it remains a peaceful and collaborative environment.
That's crucial.
And how we balance the potential benefits. With the risks and ethical considerations.
We need to be thoughtful about how we proceed.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you hope our listener walks away with?
I think the biggest takeaway for me is that space exploration is an incredible endeavor that requires collaboration, ingenuity, and a willingness to push the boundaries of what's possible.
I like that.
It's not just about rockets and spaceships.
It's bigger than that.
It's about expanding our understanding of the universe and our place within it.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
And for our listener, I hope this deep dive has sparked a sense of wonder and a desire to learn more.
Absolutely.
About the fascinating world of space exploration.
There's always something new to discover.
So keep your curiosity alive. Keep exploring and keep looking up at the stars.
You never know what you might find.
You never know what amazing things you might find.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.